Hello, hello, and welcome back to Ascension TV online. I am so glad to have you with us today, and I am so excited to have our next guest, Catherine Llewellyn. I am just so excited to chat with Catherine today. Catherine joins me from not far away, okay, over the hills and over a few valleys in mid Wales here. Or maybe you're in England, I'm not sure. We'll talk about
No,
that in
no,
a
no,
moment.
no. I'm not in England.
You're not in England. Yay, you're in Wales with me. That's awesome. So Catherine is a fellow ecstatic dancer and we have had many amazing dances. We've also actually co-hosted. Were you at Day of Dance as well? Because Catherine is an ecstatic dance teacher like me using her own systems, and I'll let her talk about that. And Catherine, it does a lot of amazing things in the world. So I'm going to hand over, Catherine. Tell us a little bit about the work you do now, and then we'll see where this conversation goes today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caroline, so much. As you know, I'm doing this incredible work with the theme of freedom of spirit at
Yeah,
the moment because I just feel like there's this massive cry going up in the world for freedom. Everyone wants to experience freedom, and
yeah,
everyone's trying to do it in a variety of different ways,
yeah,
which some of which work and some of which really do not work in terms of
yeah.
giving us the freedom sense we want. So I've been dedicating myself to that quite strongly and working with that. And as you know, I do that one-to-one in a beautiful little module and also in a workshop context. And I've literally just started teaching other people and accrediting other people to do that work with their clients as
Amazing.
well. So that's a big part of what I'm doing. It's very close to my heart.
Sure, amazing.
Um, I'm also teaching Pellower
Oh, of course, I didn't
privately.
even
So
mention that.
people come to me, and I used to do public workshops, but now I am just doing private workshops, and
Okay.
someone will contact me and say, look, I've heard about Pellower, no idea what it is, but I feel strangely drawn to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Or they'll say, I know exactly what it is. I want to come and be attuned. Are you free next
Nice.
Wednesday and Thursday? So I'm doing that. And I have a podcast, which is Truth and Transcendence.
Yay.
So, so the ecstatic dance you mentioned is actually woven into the freedom of spirit work,
Right. Yeah.
because of course the engine for
Yeah.
our experience of freedom and presence. So the
Sure.
body is very present in that work, but
Yeah.
also meditation and also the whole energetic side as well. And Truth and Transcendence is on video and audio and everywhere.
Okay, and we will pop the links below. Obviously, you can see by Catherine's name, there's Truth and Transcendence there. If you'd like to follow her, I mean, the guests you have and the themes, I watch it and I'm just like, oh yeah, 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 this stuff. Because I think anyone that's doing a podcast, we have this feeling of responsibility. We want to share information in the world, isn't it? And that's when I had this idea for this like show, if you like, and the name just popped in and I was like, yeah, of course. And like the name, The Ascension Alchemist, like nothing I do, I don't sit and play with words, they just land at the right time and I'm like, yeah, okay. And it takes a while for me to kind of settle into the name, but for me, that's what the time we're in. That's why everything looks so chaotic, isn't it? So moving on to that in a minute, can I just check with the freedom of spirit work and the Pella work, they would contact you through beingspace.world, Catherine, is that right? If people listening and watching
Yes.
want to
Yeah.
contact you.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the reason why Catherine said I know about it is because I was very lucky to have try like a tryout session, if you will. Sorry if that's not the right word. So I had 3 sessions with Catherine and it was beautiful and I felt incredibly expanded during that. Really, we catharted a lot and then we really expanded. And what I find interesting, and actually, this is a big part of what I like to talk about. And also, it's really something that I cover in the first chapter of my book is how when we expand, we'll often have a time actually where we have to then integrate. So I feel like I can remember maybe the time that we had it, and I was like, oh God, I feel like I've just really opened up and I can see this higher timeline again. And I'm like, yeah, this is really happening. And then all the other stuff that's in resistance will then start coming out of your woodwork. Likewise, when I decided I'm going to do Ascension TV, it was like, yep, okay. And then, all the resistances are going to come up, while you're getting ready for it, because it has to filter through your nervous system, and then we're in alignment. Hey, so yeah, I really, to me, if people can understand that, it's a really helpful understanding of what happens in our energy field, because we are constantly expanding and we're constantly growing as people to come back into like our sovereignty and our energetic free, like you said, the freedom, isn't it? So is that something that you've experienced in your life, having an expansion and then, oh, this is going to settle in for a while? Talk to me about that, Catherine. Have you experienced that?
I tend to, my resistance tends to come up more so as I'm approaching the expansion or while the expansion's happening.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
I give you an example with freedom of spirit, the idea of it landed with me in early 2024.
Okay.
And I then spent 5 months creating the foundation workshop. And the I would say at least 50% of my experience during that 5 months was a resistance. So it was
Right.
my resistance to the thing that was coming through me. And
Yeah.
I could feel it, I could feel myself expanding while I was doing it, but I
Yeah.
could also hear myself resisting.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the resistance tends to come more as a voice for me,
Okay.
and the
Okay.
expansion tends to come more as a physical experience or energetic experience
Sure.
for me.
Yeah.
So I had those things going along side by side.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, but then once the thing was designed and the workshop was created, etc., at that point the resistance was gone. So for
Right.
me, it's kind of that way. And I find this as well, particularly with the workshop, because everyone in relation to this freedom of spirit thing, everybody, if they're honest, has some resistance.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because we're so programmed not to embrace our sovereignty and freedom
Sure.
that stepping into that
Yeah.
is a step outside the comfort zone for everybody, even if people who've got really liberated lives, because there's always further to go. But how, where, and when the resistance manifests is
Yeah.
complete. Some people experience it prior to actually deciding to come along. And
Yeah.
then they decide to come along, and
Yeah.
then they are so open
Yeah.
and they're like flying through it. You can
Yeah.
see it's
Yeah.
almost like you see sparks coming off them the minute they
Yeah.
come in the door.
Great.
Other people go, no, I'm going to book, and they turn up and they hit the resistance on the first
Oh, in
day
it. Yeah.
and have a really difficult time. And
Yeah.
then on the second day, they're like, oh God, I feel completely different now. What on earth just happened? Who am I?
Yeah.
So, and other people do it and then afterwards hit resistance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's there's no set
Yeah.
pattern for it. But I will say, for me, my relationship with my resistance is a bit like, can I cook? Can I navigate my resistance? Can I keep the house tidy? Can I look after the cats? Can I
Yeah.
get myself to the dance? Can I
Yeah.
navigate my resistance? Can I open to love? Can I relate with people? Can I
Yeah.
navigate my resistance? So it's woven through everything
Sure.
at least some of the time.
Yes. Oh gosh, Catherine, thank you. I love that. And I guess, to be honest, this feels like a really important theme coming through, hey, because for me, the work that I do as a coach helps me. Like I'm well aware that we teach what we need, or at least we're learning through what we're teaching. And that to me is the essence of the coaching that I do. It's not strategy coaching, really. It's energy coaching. It's okay, we know you've got a goal, now let's look at the because sometimes like I see that, likewise, when I have a resistance, it can be a voice of, you can't do this, or who the hell, blah 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 blah. And but what I do, I don't think we've ever done a session. I'd love to do one on you, just so you experience it. But what, and actually, no, this is a point. Actually, I can do this now, because if you are doing something, we could actually just do a very tiny practice, if you're okay with that, Catherine. Um, so say if you want to join in with this, just think of one thing that it is that you are aiming towards, and you've got resistance. And this doesn't have to be a project, a work project. This might be booking a holiday on a cruise, I'm getting the picture of. I don't know why. Or buying a house, or moving, or being in a relationship. It doesn't matter what it is. The same, to me, what I've realized in coaching is what we want is the thing we probably most resist, and that's why we want it. Now, for years, I was very much, because of my faith, I was very much like, I just do God's work, I don't have my own goals, I just follow God. I follow this thread within me where I feel inspired to go and do. And then I was starting, obviously, to get really big projects. I'm like, okay, apparently I do want these things. But one of my resistances was I shouldn't want it. And even that felt guilty, because I knew that doing the thing would probably make me really happy. But the resistance was, for example, I feel guilty because, like you said, I would be coming into my fullness, if you like. I'd be speaking my fullest truth of what I believe in the world. And that's scary as shit. Let's face it, it's absolutely terrifying, especially for many of us who probably had a witch wound, or there's ancestral wound, or whatever it is, school, the constriction. So what I was going to say is, think of the one thing. And for me, my projects are my biggest dreams. A lot of people might be travel the world, all of that stuff meant nothing to me. I was just like, I need to serve. I had my vision when I was a kid, and I was like, I just need to serve, and I don't know how that looks. Now I know how it looks. I'm aiming towards them. That's my true north. So we can have but actually the work that I do as a coach is saying, okay, where do you feel that in your body? So we bring it from the head to me, those parts of us, yes, we can just say it's the ego, but would you agree? It's a child part. Mostly it's a child part. It's a wisp of our energetic essence that got stuck. So it's a mini trauma coming out that's telling you, you can't be you, basically. That's how I see it. So we come into the body, feel where it is. So if you're watching this and you're going, yeah, right, I do want to do that thing, but I'm also saying this, I can't, whatever. Just notice in your body where it is, and be with that feeling. Because I understand that when we have a trauma, and that can be just somebody telling you, no, you can't do it, and it affects our field, doesn't it? It just starts shrinking us. That is like an imprint, and until you release it, it's like having a car crash and not uncrunkling your car kind of thing. You just stay with this crinkled bit, and then you're like, well, what's wrong with me? And we just feel it in the body, and it starts expanding, and then you come back to peace. We use a thing called the peace process. So I don't know how that resonates to how you see the resistance, Catherine, but what do you think about the resistance and where it comes from?
Well, first of all, I will say I think it's very intelligent to go into the body, because these things are held in the body, and so they can only be released in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, unfortunately, a lot of us try to resolve these things in the head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For example, cognitive behavioral therapy is
Mm,
extremely valuable when it's correctly applied. But
sure.
unfortunately, people try and use that instead of using the body to resolve something
Yeah.
which is actually held in the body. So I'll say that
Yeah.
first off. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
where these resistances come from, I think that's a big part of the mystery. I see that as the
Okay.
mystery. So that's
Yes.
a point of
Yes.
curiosity for me. So
Sure.
um, if I'm working with myself or with a client,
Yeah.
there'll be the noticing of the stuckness,
Mm.
and then there will be the exploration of the stuckness
Mm-hmm.
in the body, in the heart, in the mind. And sometimes the stuckness is something as simple as, I am absolutely exhausted and wiped
Mm.
out.
Yes.
I can't tell you the number of people who've completely released that just by taking a couple of days off and not looking at their phone and not
Oh
watching
my
TV.
gosh. Do you
I
know
mean,
what,
and
Catherine?
and
Sorry
so,
to
and
interrupt
it's
you.
so
Yeah.
simple. It's almost
Yeah.
like, oh my God, how can I charge people for this? But
Yeah.
it's so
Yes. But they need
simple.
someone to help them
But
see it.
but sometimes
Yeah.
that's all it is. Sometimes it is to do with something that just happened very recently,
Yeah.
something very difficult.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's to do with something that happened earlier in adulthood or in childhood. Sometimes it's generational, like you were mentioning, like you mentioned witch wounds. Some people have got wounds going back
Yeah.
generation after generation. Some people have wounds that are humanity related, going back,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
our own lineage. So
Yes.
the thing is,
Yeah.
until we kind of look at it,
Yeah.
but it's so big, the possibilities are so big. I
Yes.
feel like you can't tackle the whole thing. You can't tackle every possibility.
No,
You
I've
have
got
to sort of delicately find threads and follow until you
yes.
find. I mean, I was working with someone the other day, and the whole thing released when I said to her, okay, look, you're doing incredibly well. If, supposing this was an extra session, completely bonus session, right? And we could just work on exactly whatever you wanted. We don't have to work on any of the stuff we've been working on. Exactly whatever you'd like to work on. What would you like it to be? And she looked at me and she burst into tears.
Oh,
And what it was that she had no experience in her life of being offered that sort of choice.
yeah.
And it went back to a time in her childhood where she was fostered out to some other people who forced her into a culture that was very oppressive.
Okay. Yeah.
And she'd never been able to talk about it.
Okay.
She'd tried to be supportive for everyone else because everyone else was suffering at that time. And she'd
Yeah.
carried that with her ever since.
Oh gosh, bless you, bless them, bless her. Yeah.
And equally, she would not have responded in such an open way
Yeah.
in the session with me if we had not already been working together for over 8 months,
Yeah.
because she
Yes.
was
That
ready
trust and
to
space.
trust her. And she said, I've never shared that with anybody ever
Oh gosh, I
before.
really hear you. Bless her. And
And
this
I
is
said,
how simple it can be, is it? Well, not simple, but like one scenario, and then it's just carrying on and on.
yeah, that's exactly right. But I couldn't possibly have known
Yeah,
what
the
that was. And when
gravity.
I asked the question, I didn't know that's what might come through.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously, I was ready to sort of hold.
Do you know what's coming up, Catherine? I have a mini book or ebook of depression. Okay, I haven't published it yet. It's just one of the many things sat on my computer ready for me to just hone it and get it out. And when I wrote it, it was because I was really frustrated. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm depressed," and that's it. They don't look into it, and I'm a looker into it. That's why I wrote my bloody book, right? I wasn't okay with just having a label and a crappy prognosis for the rest of my life. I was like, no, not a chance. I'm going to explore it. So I explored it, and one of the things was exactly as you said. It's like maybe you're just exhausted. Like the world we live in, the way the Western world is set up is based on slavery. Let's face it. Like we had, serfdom where you live on the land and you're allowed because your lands were all taken off you way back when, however, whatever. Then you had really formalized kind of service, being in service to the big house, and you might just be a middle class worker, but really it was all homogenized by the people at the top. You guys can work for us under our structure, and it's still there. It's ridiculous. No one can live on basic wage. It's just not a life. It's a it's a subsistence, whatever it is. And so if you're still in that throes of like low level income job, you're going to be feeling crappy because you're tired, because you're not, I think we have one day off for grieving in this world, in the West. You're not allowed to grieve. I've been in grief for weeks over a family member, and because I work for myself, I've been able to just pause everything and just go within and check what's going on and do the energy work and blah 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 blah. We're not set up for that. So for me, when you said about it could just be you're tired, again, viewers, this might be ringing a bell because it certainly is for me. And this week, in fact, I gave myself October mostly off. I did work every day. I was working on some forms for a organization I'm part of, but it was very low stress. I didn't rush to go to fairs. I wasn't rushing to finish another project. And like your client, I know where that came from, because as a child, because I was clever and I was musical, it was like, great, you're going to do more and more music. And it became a safety for me. It's like, I don't understand the world. I don't know where my part is. I know I'm a bit sensitive. I just, and I just threw myself into my grades and my study and my work. And so I've been doing that all my adult life, trying to just get to the end of it. And it's like, there is no end. I need to practice. I can take a month off, or, turn the volume down, right? Not a hard left or right, but turn the volume down. Oh God, do I feel better? I feel better. And this week, in fact, Tuesday and Wednesday, they were just out. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's it. Stop. And today I'm like, oh, I am back. So,
Yeah, so
and
that's about listening. That's about listening to your own body and listening to
yeah.
your own energy. And I mean, we do tend, in our Western culture over here, we do tend to have certain
Mm,
programming, don't we? Where, for example, you've got to keep accumulating. You've
mm,
got to keep doing more. I mean, if
mm,
we look at even the most modest income home, if you look at what's in that home compared to
mm.
what would have been in that home even 50 years ago,
Yeah.
what's in that home now is 50 years ago, that would have been the most wealthy person.
Yes.
A television. What, with a remote? What do you
Yeah.
mean? What do you
Yeah.
mean you can talk to somebody on this thing in your hand
Yeah.
almost for free? And what
Yeah.
do you mean? What do you mean you've got more than one pair of shoes?
And more than one car as
And more than
well,
one.
actually.
We don't. I
Everyone's
think
got
often
cars.
we don't realize, and we think, no, we need to have more. We need to have more. We need to have more.
Yeah.
Someone came into my. A friend came to visit, and I was taking them around the house, and she came into my bedroom, and she said, "Where are the rest of your clothes?"
Right.
And I said, "No, those are my clothes. How on earth do you have anything to wear?" And I looked at what I had. I thought, what's she talking about?
Yeah.
And I realized that, many people have got, I don't know, 3 wardrobes full of clothes,
Yeah.
many of which never get worn. I mean, these are just examples of this clutter we have in our lives
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
think we need to keep accumulating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember back in when was it that there was the big property bubble? Was it the 80s?
I don't know. I was a
There was a
child in the
there was a
80s,
big property
Catherine.
bubble, right, where people were buying properties,
Okay.
um, on a mortgage or whatever, and then suddenly the property values went through the roof. It was a
Right.
massive
Okay.
bubble,
Yeah.
and suddenly people's properties were worth a lot more in
Yeah.
theory, even though it was still mortgaged.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
people were saying, "Oh, great! So I could afford a bigger house or something." So people were pushing to
Yeah.
get the most they could on credit because they believed that made them wealthy, but it
Yeah.
didn't. It actually made them poor
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they were then owing so much. And then, of course, when the bubble burst, there were people losing everything
Right.
because
Yeah.
they've been caught up in this, and we can
Yeah.
get so caught up into this consumerism
Yeah.
where we're just trying to we're just following programming for one thing, but
Yeah.
we're also just trying to fill a hole, which should
Yeah.
be filled with love and self-love
Oh,
and
yeah.
self-worth and
So true.
passion and purpose. And I know somebody else who lives on, and you won't believe this, who lives on less than £5,000 a year
Amazing.
in the UK.
Yeah.
And they've got their own property, they've got
Right.
their own car, that they live on that. And everyone who this person meets is convinced that they're incredibly wealthy. Why? Because they're completely relaxed in who they are.
Right.
After their health, they're
Yeah.
not spending money on alcohol, cigarettes,
Yeah.
drugs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so many things to try and make themselves feel better because they already know who they are.
They are okay with themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is a big part. With such a debt economy,
Yeah.
and many people are trapped in that
Yeah.
and don't realize how draining that is to the spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And then are
get you,
just
Catherine.
getting more things on credit, more things on credit. So there's a big move now. I remember when the pandemic happened, suddenly all the charity shops were full of people
Right.
because people were going, oh, I can get something in the charity shop. I don't need to spend 400 quid on a jumper,
Yeah.
I can go to you've got lots of charity. There are lots of charity shops near you, aren't there? So
Yeah.
there's loads of fantastic,
Yeah.
and people not getting a new car.
Yeah, because they couldn't go out and get that new car.
Well,
Yeah,
because they didn't want to spend the money. They'd rather spend the money. Let's fix this car, and people not moving house.
yeah.
Why
It
spend
stopped
30
everything, didn't
grand?
it? It literally stopped everything. You just
Why spend 30 grand moving
pause.
house when
Yeah,
for 5 grand I can redecorate this house and give it a complete facelift?
yeah. Yeah, and not going on holiday, staycations, working from home, everything slowed down, didn't it? And do you know, Catherine, what feels when you were saying about this buying, and I think my version of that is more work, more work, more work.
Yeah,
Because I came from a family that already did what you said. We made do. We know my mum was a sewer, so she mended everything. My dad was DIY proficient, so he could just do whatever needed. We didn't have money to burn. We made the most of everything we had. So I came from that. And as a kid, because I didn't have a certain job I wanted to do, I was just like, I don't get how I can ever really earn money because I just don't seem to fit into that world. I was too terrified of it, frankly, and doing things wrong. And when I've looked at this part in me that is hungry for my rich, which would, I've published this book and this book and da, 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 this, I've got to do more, basically, like some people would have, I've got to buy more. It's unworthiness. And you're so right with the what is the whole, it's love and self-compassion. So again, I just had this idea, Catherine, if it's okay, just to ask anybody who's got any of that energy, if you resonate with any of that, because I used to buy clothes and clothes and clothes, and I'd make, because I can sew, right? I would upgrade my clothes, upcycle, and I had so much. And it was just chaotic because it was this is an outfit, but that's not really, but I really liked it, and it was like da da da, but I wasn't in my purpose then. I knew I had purpose, but I was so frustrated. I didn't know how to find my purpose. I didn't have an outlet for it. I don't really buy clothes now unless I know it's gone. The knees have gone in my leggings. Right. I just replace like for like. It's a capsule wardrobe. It's very minimal in the sense of everything fits together. The colors are all very similar. It's small because I've traveled so much. I've got rid of a lot. But I just wanted to invite any of you, if you've got any of that feeling where it's like I need. It could be food, it could be like food, or I gotta go on holiday, I've got to go to festivals, I got, it doesn't matter, but it's the more. Just check in again. Where is your body? What's happening in your body with that? And let's just give it some love, hey? Like let's just literally send some energy out. Just be in your body with that because it sucks. It's the hungry ghost, it's this. And your presence with yourself, with that part of you, is enough to love it into fullness. I see it's like we're re-cheeing a crumpled bit that felt, oh, you're not good enough, into I'm already enough right now. Like that's where the peace is. And I just wanted to share what was coming to mind is I was one of the two youngest in my entire family, like extended family when I was growing up. So we had like there was three families, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, mum and dad, and we would come together, come together, come together. And I really have the sense of just being the child in this adult world and the older children going through older life, stages. And we're just like, oh, don't be silly, don't be silly, it's just you little ones, no, so this like you're never, and obviously as I've grown up they are always 4 steps ahead of me, and you can't change that. So I've always been like, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Of course they don't see that, they would never say that to me, but in my psyche as a child it's like, I know, I just want to just somebody, can you just hear me, as a, because I remember having quite profound thoughts as a child and I probably shared them, but even now those profound thoughts wouldn't have landed with my family because they're not existential thinkers, right? They don't question stuff. Fine, good for them, right? So yeah, it's subtle things like this, or not so subtle, can really set up us to feel not good enough. And think in this world, I'm just thinking of a royal family. So in terms of stuff, we'll never be as rich as the rich ones. So there's always the, yeah, but oh, I want, we've got a really clear view, especially with social media and news and everything we've got. There's so many pictures of, oh, look at these guys, they've got all of that. So, materially, I want all of that too. Otherwise, I'm not good enough. Instead of going, wow, I'm really lucky with this.
Yeah, but you probably don't want a couple of palaces, because managing and supervising and making sure it's all taken care of would be a nightmare. I've got friends who've got more than one property. Maybe they've got holiday property abroad or
Right.
something, and
Yeah.
I don't. And you think, oh my God, how fantastic for them, how lucky they are. And I'm thinking, do I really want to be dealing with a call about the fact that the kitchen's flooded in Cyprus
Yeah.
because due to the amazing weather they have over there, this is that has happened, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I just I don't want to be having to spread my energy out over things like
Sure.
that.
Sure.
There's something I felt I'd like to share with the viewers, if I may, Caroline, to
Yeah,
do
of
with,
course, Catherine.
we talk about the hole that wants to be filled.
Yeah.
Um, there's a beautiful model which we do actually explore on the Freedom of Spirit workshop, but I will share it with people now because it
Yeah.
stands alone. And it was developed by John Heron, who was one of my heroes, the
Okay.
father of humanistic psychology.
Okay.
And this is a little model of our emotional needs.
Okay.
And so if you think of it as three sets of two,
Okay.
the first set is we have a need to love.
Yeah.
I think everyone gets that. We have a need to be loved.
Yeah.
Everybody gets that. We
Yeah.
don't necessarily always distinguish between what those two things are. So we need
Mm,
to love and we need to be loved.
nice.
Are we
Yeah.
doing both? If we keep just chasing after being loved without fulfilling our need to love,
Yes.
that doesn't work. If
Yes.
we are just concentrating on loving without receiving love,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. So that's an interesting
Yes.
nuance right
Yes.
there. The second one is we need to understand and we need to be understood.
Yes. Yes.
Now, those two are not the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes we think, I don't understand what's going on. And what's really going on is we feel really not understood.
Yes.
And so we can mistarget what we're trying to get for ourselves. And the
Yes.
last one is the pair that most people have the least awareness on, which
Okay.
is the need to choose and the need to be chosen. So
Oh,
we need to make our own choices. We need to be able to choose.
yeah.
Now, unfortunately, again, many of us have programming, which is anti-choosing. You don't get to choose. When I
Yeah.
was at school, it was those who ask don't get.
Oh my gosh.
Those
Yeah.
who ask don't get. I
Mine
mean,
was you're awkward.
yeah,
You're being
exactly.
awkward
And
because you have a
to be
choice.
chosen, that's when you are completely seen, wanted as you exactly are.
Yeah.
It's not the same as being understood. It's not the same as being loved. It's being chosen. Now, that is such a rare experience for so many people. And so many of us try and fill that hole with one of the others.
Oh gosh, Catherine, I'm having like dung, 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 dung. And I just want to share something that first came up, if I may, with the love one. I came across a book, and I can't remember quite the name of it. It's by Diana Richardson. It's about tantra, basically. It's basics tantra stuff. And when I read it, I was like, oh, yes, this is exactly what I've been getting at, but not being able to quite say, right? I've never read a book on tantra, but I've had enough of my experiences with men and with some women. But what the thing that was really profound was how the polarity, and yes, it looks heterosexual, and that, let's just put that aside, it's not meant to be an offensively overly hetero, but just imagine that the female energy gives from the heart and the male energy gives from the the groin, and that's how this cycle can work. And I've seen it energetically going, actually it can be both, because if you've got a man that's very in touch with his feminine, he's going to give with the feminine and his heart rather, and the woman is going to kind of feel like they're driving from the root. But you have to have a complete cycle, so there's the giving and receiving, so they are also receiving and giving, and that is when the harmony happens. And when I started really seeing this, I was realizing that my ability to love had been crumpled, because I loved in a way as a child that just apparently annoyed my parents, and they were like, don't. So then you start going, okay. And then because you're also not seeing that you're being loved back, you then want the love. So I've been working with a system where I'm scared to give, but I'm desperate for love, because actually if you're loved and understood and chosen, you're going to feel safe. And I didn't feel any of those. Like, that's why my dad sectioned me. He's like, you're fucking off your head. What are you talking about? Because he just had no concept of the spiritual experiences that I was going through, so that's, I just wanted to give an example of that.
That's a
And
very potent example. That's a beautiful example
yeah,
because
yeah. And I see it in business as well. So, like, because I've been afraid to give my gifts because of the fear of being misunderstood and this fear of sectioning if I say the wrong thing, da da da. There's really been quite a theme in my adult life. I haven't given, but I've needed money. In this world, I know you gave the example of somebody that can live on not a lot, but you need to know that basis is covered in the least, So there's been this, oh God. And it's like, no, I see it, and I get given it and shown it many times when I'm praying, like, what do I need to shift? Just give freely and trust the love, and I see it with my partner, when I'm loving on him, he wants to love on me. And it's just this absolutely, and oftentimes we do that when we're not in intimacy, we're just being in that gifting with each other, and it's just so profound. We both will have times when we're weeping because we've just never felt that symbiotic acceptance love both ways. So
yeah,
yeah, I just thought I'd give that as an example, because it's really helped
perfect.
me.
So that's a great example of you who's actually been consciously working with it, not
Yeah,
with that specific model, but
yeah.
it's
The giving
congruent,
bit.
totally congruent and in alignment with that, because you've noticed those, and then you've brought your attention to the actual place that wants attention, rather than noticing ways in which this is incredibly revelatory to a lot of people, particularly if you discuss it in a group, because in a group
Sure.
everyone has different patterns and everyone can understand each other's pattern, which
Yeah.
helps people to be more self-forgiving of their own pattern.
Mm.
Like, oh, I get yours. Oh my God, I get mine.
Yes,
Oh my
yes,
God,
yes,
and
yes.
usually there's hugging at the end of the session because
Oh,
it really is so very
I
releasing.
really hear you with that. And I just had, and this is where that understood thing comes in, isn't it? Being understood and having the gift, because you're feeling at peace, because you're understood, you can understand others, you're at peace in yourself, you've got the ears
Yeah.
finally to listen. And I've done a lot of circle work. I did training with a lady called Katie Mottram, and we did like 3 months of sharing in circle. And I hadn't realized that my need for being understood meant that if there was a chink, I would just take the space, and I wasn't in the place to listen. And we in this training, we were doing, it was training to be a peer support worker for spiritual awakening and mental health stuff. And we split the time. So it was literally, you have, if there's 10 people, you split it up. Oh, maybe you got 5 minutes each. So you absolutely take the space, and all ears are on you, which can be, like, I want to say hiddifying, haven't said that word, it's like a strong word. It can be very challenging if you've never had that. But in this place, it was like, shit, everyone is listening and they want to know what I'm saying. They're not waiting to tell me, God, you're off your head, shut up, I don't want to hear this. And also then you come back where you're in the listening position, and it was very clear, and it showed me how much that in me was out of whack, because of different life situations. And, in school, we're forced to listen, but we're not understood. We're not often seen or honored or respected or loved. It's just, you're one of the class, shut up and do the thing, old school teaching, right? So yeah, it's a thing. I had a client the other day who was like, "Oh, thank you. I've never told anyone that." Because she knows that I will, it obviously in a coach client situation, it's not about you, but I will happily share anything that makes me help the person go, look, I get it. Like, I really understand where you're from. No shaming here. Like, put it on the table. We're just going to open up and see. So, oh, thank you so much. What I'm unburdened. I'm like, bring it on. I'm not going to sit there and judge. Oh, I've seen my shadows, like, so it really unburdens, isn't it? When you're able to share, so you're being understood, but it's for the other person to go, oh God, yeah, me too, and it's okay.
There's actually a process that anyone can do,
Okay.
which I actually was taught this process when I was 6 years old.
Amazing.
Okay, because my parents were very alternative and they had some very alternative friends. And one of their friends
Right.
was a lady called Dr. Rachel Pinney, who at the time was developing this incredible work with children, which then evolved into nonviolent communication work. And I had no idea that she was, someone. She was just Rachel. And I went to stay with her in her funny little wooden house in the woods with her
Amazing.
pet python.
Wow.
I was 6, and she used to do this thing with me several times a day. It was called Catherine half hour, Rachel half hour.
Right.
Remember, I was 6, okay? And you know what most 6-year-olds are like.
Yeah.
So Catherine half hour is where my job was to tell Rachel what I wanted us to do for half an hour,
Yeah.
and we would do it
Yeah.
100% regardless of what it was,
Yeah.
regardless. And then it's Rachel half hour. She would tell me what she wanted us to do for half an hour, and we would do that 100% for half an hour.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, I just thought this was really interesting and I found it really fascinating. I had to really focus to do it and it was almost unbelievable that she was doing with me the thing I wanted for half an hour with no resistance, no question, no, but
Yeah.
wouldn't you rather do this, darling?
Yeah.
No, none of that adult nonsense. And
Yeah.
for her thing, she would absolutely tell me what she wanted me to do instead of the
Yeah.
usual, well, no, I'll do the grown-up thing later, type thing. It was a incredible experience as a 6-year-old. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize till much later how formative that had been.
Yeah.
Because in there, you've got understanding, being understood, choosing, being chosen. And the whole thing is incredibly loving to
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely
She then
fulfilling.
took that and developed it into this whole modality, which just became this incredible element of the nonviolent communication. But anyone could do that with someone they care about, a
Yeah.
partner, a child,
Yeah.
2 children together,
Yeah.
a friend,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
but you just have to be 100% committed to actually following. It's got to be half an hour, not 20. No, you can have 40 minutes if you like. I'll just have 20. No, it's got to be absolutely
Absolutely.
equitable. And even
Yes.
if you don't understand why you're doing it, when you do it, afterwards, you're not the same.
Yeah, I was going to say the profound, isn't it? And
Yeah.
do you know what's coming up, Catherine, is there's a lot of talk about body doubling in the neuro spicy world. Have you ever heard of that, Catherine? Have you heard about that?
I've heard of it. I can't remember what it is.
No, it's fine, because to be honest, if you don't have the need, you wouldn't think about it. And I didn't think I had the need, but what I have found since being self-employed, so I've been a coach maybe like
Oh,
8 years.
I remember now what it is.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
the one where you're
basically,
connected to someone else on Zoom or something for the
yeah,
day?
and you're just working alongside each other,
Yeah,
right?
I've done that just
Right.
because it was fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it was supportive.
sure.
Then I think I saw a post you might have put up about it.
Yeah.
And I've certainly seen it online. It's a fantastic idea.
Sure. And what is coming to me is it's because that need was never seen as a child. So when I think of my childhood, I was in a room studying, in a room playing music. I don't remember sitting down with my parents doing anything except for maybe the TV on the Saturday night or whatever. But even that, I mean, I've been told by a healer years ago, she's like, you weren't on the planet, you've been doing this a lot, and that's not from a trauma like disassociation, it's just your soul bilocates a lot. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I don't remember a lot of my childhood. My parents aren't all that bad. It wasn't completely that. But the point is, I have, since being fully self-employed for 2.5 years, I have really struggled to do the next job on my, on my list to build the business and fulfill things. And often I have thought, oh, I just really want someone to help me with this. I really want somebody to help me with this. And it's like cognitively, I know what I need to do, but energetically, there's been like a starvation of company.
Mm.
And I see it when I am with Rob. I have found that child part that when I would say with my parents, it was like on edge, I'm watching, and what do I need to do here? It wasn't like a symbiotic, oh, you're doing that amazing. I did, whether or not it was true, some part of me did not feel safe doing with somebody what I want to do or on my own doing the thing. I just had to do the thing because that was the only option. So I can imagine that, to me, this is, I was just getting this body doubling. It's not like, I don't know, with the neurospicy, I've yet to delve into that, and I've got a book coming. I've got a book project on that with a friend of mine, looking at the energetics of it. Because if you did not have that safety as a child, it's not in your makeup that people like what you're doing and respect what you're choosing and love you for your choice and are fully with you. So you don't know what it's like to just be allowed to do that thing. Yeah, one of the scripts that comes up for me, my resistance, my child part, if you like, is that I'm not allowed to do this because that was a big script as a child. No, don't do that. Do this instead. Okay, you just become a yes.
But you've still got the receptors for it. The receptors
Sure.
are intact. And I think
Yes.
that's the thing that we can sometimes forget. We are
Yes.
actually much more
I,
available to it than we might think. So
yes.
we might step on a dance floor at Clive and Philippa's amazing Saturday
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
and within 5 or 10 minutes, we're experiencing something very beautiful
Yeah.
because the receptors are there when
Yeah.
we're ready for it. Or
Yeah.
with you, Caroline, I imagine you're a beautiful person to work with as a coach. I could imagine someone showing up with you, and within a few minutes, they feel, oh my God, I can actually
Yeah.
open and be vulnerable with this woman, right? Because you've got that whole energy about you of, I accept you, I get you,
Yeah.
you're okay. That's that very strong message I get from you,
Yeah.
which I noticed about you the very first time I ever met you at
Oh,
Clive and Philippa's summer festival thing. I
yeah.
thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
this woman's amazing. There's something about this woman. We are going to be friends.
Oh, I love that.
And I just had this sense because you had that energy about you.
Sure.
And I
Sure.
think this is something we don't always realize. We have the receptors, they're intact,
Yeah.
but also we don't always realize what is the gift of our presence that we are giving people, even when we're struggling inside.
Yeah.
What is the essence of message we're giving to the world? It's probably a lot more encouraging than we think it is.
Yes, I love that. It's like that heart is still happening, even if you've
Yes,
got a bit of a grapple going on. And
totally.
what's coming up though is of course we often give what we need. And I know the last year or so, weirdly, my productivity has been refined, but I've also withdrawn enough to go, I really need to address myself and give myself that love. And I'm like, this is hilarious, isn't it? I'm like, I'm going to do this. Oh, no, no, I need this. What I'm giving, I need. How do I need that in the world? How does that show up for me? And that kindness for myself. I can choose me. I can love me. I can understand me. And when I have that in myself, funnily enough, I start seeing it in the outside world more easily, rather than it being a kind of another angst point. It's yeah, I really get you with that, Catherine. Oh, I love that. And I was just seeing, like, wouldn't that, those three pillars, if you like, or themes, that's something that you work with in your sessions, or is that something that you teach as a standalone thing? Or how if somebody wanted to like do some work on that, would that be
I would say it's a beautiful model,
yeah,
and it's very much informed me,
yeah,
and I learned a lot from it when I first studied it in
sure,
1998,
right,
1996, actually. And it was one of the pieces that we were given on the humanistic masters that I did at that time.
oh, amazing,
So now it is one of the components that we use on the first morning of the Freedom of Spirit Foundation workshop.
right,
Because one of the things is one of several things that we look at, because one of the things we're looking at is what are, if we're not 100% experiencing our sovereignty, which is frankly everybody, to some extent or another, what could be getting in the way of that? So this
sure,
is one of the things that we look at to
right,
see, oh my God, of course, if those are not fulfilled, of course I'll be feeling less free,
yes,
right? So
yes,
it's one example. It comes up in, well, in my work with my private coaching clients. Things tend to come into the conversation as and when they need to. So that's
yes,
one of many, many different models I've got in my sort of
I've
backpack
got
that
you,
sort of come in as and when they need to.
yeah,
If somebody contacted me out of the blue and said, Catherine, I heard you talk about this beautiful emotional needs model. Can I do a session with you where we explore my life in relationship to that?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Here's a booking link.
yeah, great, yeah,
100%. I'd be very happy to do it. And I do sometimes get people contacting me and saying, there's this piece, maybe they're doing a course to become a facilitator, or maybe
okay,
they are um, doing some sort of profound work, or maybe they're a practitioner, or whatever it is they might be, or maybe they're teaching practitioners. There
sure,
might be a specific thing they want to really drill into,
yeah,
in which case they'll contact me and say, Catherine, I'm just asking for a session just on this one thing. Can we drill down
yeah,
on that? And
yes.
generally, I'll be absolutely delighted to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I've got you. I love that. And I'm just wondering, so if somebody's on the been on this call today, on this what been watching us, you can sit in and just contemplate it yourself. If you feel like I don't have the money for a session, and this is why I have a lot of free resources on my website, because I realize, there's been times in my life where I'm like, God, I could do with a session. No, no, I just don't have the coffee, there's nothing in the coffers to give it. But you can sit, and I've got a lot of workbooks online, but you can just sit, and look at that dynamic bit. Where do I love? Where do I not love? Feel loved? How is that cycle for you? Are you able to give love? Are you able to receive it? And I've seen again with my partner, I struggled to give, but I've also been an overgiver because I was afraid of what I'd get. It's like a defense mechanism. And it's
That's
like,
right.
what happens if I turn the volume down? So I work with clients. Years ago, I got this image, right? I always get these like images dropping with volumes rather than a switch up and down, softening and volume, just like, so how about if I don't stop loving, but I just turn the volume down, bring myself back into me? What happens? How do I feel about actually when I do that? The love can come in because I'm not giving. We don't know what to do when I just stop. And this is why I've got to the point where in October I was exhausted, because every month this year I was just like on this, on this, on this. And it's like, I need to stop now. What happens? What is in my body? What is showing up for me? And just try, shift just notch by notch what it feels like. Or maybe like me, you'd stopped loving for a while because you fear of rejection, so you just ask the question of yourself and you will start receiving the answers, where you can journal, why do I do this? Do I feel understood? And when you've said about the understood, I laugh thinking, well, why am I doing Ascension TV online? Because talking to people like yourself, I can speak in my most existential questioning, philosophical questioning. You know, I studied philosophy in university. I absolutely loved it. I came back to Wales and people were like, oh my God, you think too much. No, I'm just questioning a subject, you know, and it really, I have no doubt that that was part of why I ended up getting section, because I had no philosophical, theological questioning output. There was no one that could hold it. And in fact, the partner that I was with when I got section the second time, he was that person. He was like, you're not crazy, you're just fucking expanded, you're
Yeah.
awake or whatever. He'd taken enough acid to see, the inside of blah blah blah. I just was not a surprise to him. So when you're in, if you're thinking, oh, I don't feel understood, maybe you're just around the wrong people. And it doesn't mean that they're not beautiful people. Like, we all have some medicine to give, but the philosopher, if you need to be around a philosopher, go find that group or read the book or watch the podcast, isn't it? So for me, this is part of me understanding and feeling like, yes, I
Yeah.
am understood and I'm not being outed or othered because of my capacity or wish to question the world, and
Yes, you're also giving love.
yeah, I'm loving on you, and that's
Well,
great.
you're loving on the audience as well,
That's true as well.
and the
Yeah, it
world.
is a wish to give,
It's, yeah,
I'm like, I
exactly.
want to give to the world. How do I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this? And of
yeah.
course, to me, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this comes back to, in a way, why we coach, why you're doing the freedom of spirit, and why do I do everything? Is because I know I was in that round peg square hole situation where it's like, well, you're really clever, therefore you're going to do all of this. And it's like, well, I don't know. Nothing that I looked at as a kid, like, oh, I'm really clever, I should be like, I was looking at lawyers, dentists, doctors, all of those types of careers that are the obvious, when you're not in the, looking at the internet, you've just got the world around you going, well, what do the clever people do? And I'm going, none of that feels right. I would try the hat on for a few months and think, oh, what would my life look like if I was a lawyer? And I think, oh, that's good, you'd be helping people. And I was just like, I can't do that. Try a different one on. I can't do that. There was no option. So for me, I had no, because to me, when whatever job you're doing, you're loving that. When I was a cleaner, the last job I had, I was a cleaner and I was a housekeeper, called it out in a school. And I loved it because I knew the difference I was making. I was loving on the building, which in turn was loving the children. And the staff loved me because I worked my ass off. You know what I mean? It was a way of loving and sharing yourself in the world. But I didn't feel the same, I didn't feel the understanding. Actually, that's what was missing. So,
Mm.
you can use these as keys to check in. Well, what bit needs tweaking? And also with that job, I didn't have choice. When I first started, I was the head of it. So I could just work as I wanted when I wanted. Then I became like the second and I didn't have any choice. And it was like, nah, I've had too much choice in my life. I know what I feel that feels like. And I don't want to be cuckolded into the place of no choice again. But this is how we learn and grow, isn't it? See
Yeah.
what
And there is, I just remember, there is actually an episode on Truth and Transcendence about the emotional needs model.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
called something like Why Unfulfilled Needs Can Ruin Your Life. Catchy little title. It's a
Oh,
solo episode where I'm just talking to the
talking.
camera.
Yeah,
It's about 15 minutes long, I think.
sure.
So people can tune in. That's quite a good thing to tune into.
Oh, amazing. I will find the link and I'll put it in the comments below, Catherine, because I think, I listening to you and reflecting back on those themes in my life, I think, my goodness, that, when I wrote the majority of this book in 2017, I was living in Portugal. I was very lucky. I had the choice. I moved to Portugal, took the choice, and I was in this space where there was a lot of spiritual talk. It was quite okay to talk about other lifetimes, other realms, all this stuff. It was very expansive for me. This book just dropped through me, came back to the UK, and I was suddenly in this, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do it, because obviously I was getting like I don't know, old stuff coming up, trauma stuff, whatever, because I felt I'm not going to be understood. So I have this wisdom that I want to share with the world, and now I'm terrified of am I going to get resectioned for saying all the stuff that I believe in and speaking my truth, and that's why it took me so long. Yeah, I just had to keep coming in, like, I can love myself. There are enough people. I mean, Catherine actually was one of the first people that read it through, and gave me some really beautiful constructive feedback. Thank you so much, Catherine, for that. and that it was terrifying. But really nothing in it was new to you, I'm sure. Maybe the way it was written, and maybe my personal experiences, fine, they were new. But like the themes, for people that are thinkers, explorers, seekers, if you like, there's nothing new in it under the sun at all. It's just my belief and how I framed it as to my
Well,
experience.
how you'd metabolized it and how you'd then formulated the themes
Yeah,
and the flow
yeah,
was new to me because you'd done it in a way that was unique to you. So
sure,
it was
sure.
very revealing to me in that
Okay,
sense,
yeah,
um,
okay, yeah,
which is why I felt it was a really worthwhile book. You
yeah,
weren't just, it wasn't like you just done a lot of research
yeah,
on other people's experience.
yeah, no.
What you'd done is you talked about your own experience and the themes that were most significant for you. And interesting, you mentioned about philosophy. I interviewed a philosopher the other day
Right.
who's written this book about the world's greatest philosophers. And he's a young man. And during the COVID time, he hit a lot of difficulties and was very unhappy and so forth. And he'd always been fascinated with philosophy, which he studied at university. And he thought, right, I'm going to study philosophy deeper and explore it and use it to dig myself out of this place I'm in.
Oh,
And
amazing.
that's what he did. And in the book, he selected the philosophers that helped him the most
Oh,
in
wow.
that situation. Because when I
No,
looked at the book, I thought, what is random selection of philosophers? Where's Jean-Paul Sartre? Where's
okay.
Nietzsche? For goodness sake. What.
Yeah,
But and then in the bit at the beginning, he goes, these are the ones that helped me out of this situation. And this
yeah,
is, I'm going to explain to you why it helped me,
yeah,
the life of that person, the world they were living in, how the
yeah.
philosophy emerged, what
Oh,
happened, and how you can use it in your life.
oh,
And it
wow.
was unique because he'd
Yeah,
done it that way. And that's what you've done with your book. You've done it like a unique
yeah,
formulation of it.
yeah,
And I've
yeah.
actually recommended your book to several people who have
Oh,
been
it's amazing.
suffering
Okay,
from some very difficult, intractable experiences where they felt really misunderstood. Some of them
sure.
have actually been sectioned or equivalent.
Yeah,
And I've said, read this book. This is not your story, it's Caroline's story,
yeah.
but it will help you,
Might help, yeah.
you know.
Oh God, wow, that's amazing, Catherine. Thank you. And do you know what's coming to mind is when I studied philosophy, you see, I would read the book and I'm like, my head is like this book. Like I have, we talk about a theme. Oh, I did the philosophy of mind, and I was like, my head has already got some stuff I want to say. And of course, when you're in the student, when you're, just doing your bachelor's, it's like you're going to read all these amazing philosophers and you're going to take it all and then you're going to say one thing of yours, but you're going to back it up with them. And honestly, it annoyed me because I was like, I get it, but the it's stuffy, it's really laboriously written. Obviously, it's old English, a lot of it, or it's translated from Greek or whatever it is. And I got it. I could conceive of it because my mind was already, I used to speak existentialism stuff with my 13-year-old friends. We were already cognitizing in that way and asking those questions. But I was like when I was writing this, I think somebody's like, "Oh, have you researched bipolar?" I'm like, "No, I'm speaking my freaking truth, thank you." And now I understand it's because I have quite a capacity of clear cognizance, which is I just get knowings. I'm not going to justify that for somebody that needs scientific proof. Sorry, no. It's just
Yeah,
not my bag. It makes me, it just, oh, it's okay. I'm allowed to say a thing because this man 200 years said it. Okay, fine. But I didn't read a book to have these thoughts. This is from my direct experience. And actually, the book that's just come out on Tuesday, I speak about direct revelation, which is something that I know I've had a lot of times, which is you make a prayer, you get an answer. We all have that cognition. So if you're wondering about the book and how I formulated it, it's literally, it dropped down. The majority of it came to me in a month, and it just was like, this is what I need to tell people about the I have had a lot of anger, but really what I would say is the misunderstanding of this element of mental health. What people would quite easily just call somebody bipolar, tell them they're going to be ill for the rest of their life, and there's no deeper look at the energetics of it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't accept that. So
And of
that,
course, the ancient philosophers, that's how they developed their philosophies.
yeah, no,
Often they would, apparently they were all each other's pupil in this sort of, I hadn't realized how, someone's pupil, and they start teaching, and then they develop their own thing, and then they've got a pupil, and da da da
yeah,
da, and then they've got a pupil, and it goes down the generations, and that's
sure,
how it actually happened. I've got
sure,
a thing, every now and again, someone sends me a message on Facebook or something which says, your offerings, you don't say anything in there about, your accreditations or any regulations or anything. And I will write back and say, that's right. Some people really need that. And there's plenty of things that are like that. But I'm actually not regulated, and I'm actually not regulatable.
yeah, nice, okay,
And funnily enough, they don't respond to that.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
it's like, and I've got a friend who's got their own website where they talk about what they want to talk about. And it's called unqualified.one.
nice.
I'm unqualified.
And I'm still going to
Here's
say
my
it.
truth.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I know coming up for me is, so I've written a book. So what? What does that mean? I know that there's more to come and this big theme. And it has been the thing that stopped me. It's like, what if, what if, what if? And it's like, no, I'm unqualified in the world, but I'm damn right qualified in the fact that I've lived my experience. And
Exactly.
all I can, if I'm offering a coaching, which I'm considering doing, breaking out bipolar coaching, so that people that are kind of in that paradigm and kind of like angsty, come over here and let's just open it up and expand it, the themes, which is obviously what I've done in the book. um yeah, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not even a psychologist. I'm not even a trained counselor, but I can listen. I've done my time, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And that's, it's
Yeah.
this time, that's how we're claiming our sovereignty, isn't it? We all have an amount of wisdom and medicine to give, and that's what we're doing. So
Yeah. Finding our true voice.
finding our true voice. So that's
Caroline, this has been so much fun. Thank you
brings
so
us
much
back
for
to the
having me on the
beginning.
show.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
you're
just
so
been a
welcome.
great conversation, and revelatory for me. Some of what we've talked about has been really inspiring and refreshing to
Beautiful.
discuss with you, and lovely to be in your presence always. I always
Oh,
love being
and
in your
you,
presence.
Catherine, and you. And I will say I look forward to having you on again and seeing you. I think the next dance is on the 6th of December, I think we'll be
That's
there.
right. I'll see you on the dance
I
floor.
haven't been there for some time, so yes, I will see you on the dance floor. And actually, for those listening, if you're listening and you're in the area, my dance is on the 22nd of November in Bilth here, and then 2 weeks later is Clive and Philippa's over at Brilly. So if you're local and want to come and join us, come dance because we love to dance. I love to think and talk, but I love to dance, and in that place, it's the silence, isn't it? And you're in the flow.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, Catherine, thank you so much. If you want to reach out to Catherine, you can find her at truthandtranscendence.com there and beingspace.world. And can I just ask you, Catherine, before we hop off, have you got anything that's upcoming? Have you got a workshop or anything that's like, oh, I want to join Catherine? What's the next thing that's like public? Is it next year now? Am I right in thinking that?
Well, if somebody wants to learn Pelawa and have the Pelawa attunements,
Yes,
they can come to me privately or with a friend or with a couple of friends here in my
sure.
cozy little cottage
Beautiful. It's
in
beautiful.
Wales. So you just contact
Worthwhile.
me and
I
we'll
do
set
that
that
just to
up.
hang out for a weekend.
It is nice here, isn't it? Half of the work is done when they arrive, it's
Yeah,
cheating really, but
yeah,
still.
yeah,
Freedom of Spirit Solo, which is what Caroline mentioned, is a beautiful one-to-one piece.
yeah.
You can contact me and we can fit that in whenever fits with your diary. The next
Beautiful.
public workshop is in March, but I am taking bookings now because
Okay,
that's limited to 8 places maximum.
okay.
So if you
Beautiful.
want to know about that, get in touch.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you, all the viewers. I want to say listeners. I keep saying listeners. I don't know why. But thank you for everyone that's joined us today. If you've got any feedback or questions, just pop them in the links below or reach out on social media and all the connections there. And we'd love to hear from you. And if not, I will see you on another episode of Ascension TV Online. So many blessings to you, so much love and so much understanding. We choose you, we see you, we love you, and just keep being yourself. Yes. Ciao for now, guys. Bye. See you soon.